Welcome to the Holistic Living Podcast, my beautiful friends. You can expect my uncensored, real, and honest thoughts on a wide variety of health topics. If you love to learn on ways to improve your health, your life, your mindset, your emotions, and everything in between in a natural way, you are in the right place, and I am so excited to have you here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Holistic Living Podcast. We are starting season 2. This is technically our 28th episode, but our first episode for season 2. So I took a couple month break from podcasting because I was pivoting my content across all my social media and across all of my content platforms. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail as we move through these next few episodes in the podcast on what you can expect to see more of, but I will definitely say I am leaning a little bit more towards the motivational and inspirational and mindset shifting type of content. It's not all there's going to be. We are still completely health focused. I'm still going to be sharing lots and lots of tips and knowledge and information on different health conditions, but I do want there to be a focus, a little bit of a focus on the mindset and motivation and discipline side of things. The reason for it, and we're just going to jump right into it already, is because one thing that I see as a gap in the holistic health industry is specifically helping people form that discipline, that motivation to actually follow through with their health goals. There is so much knowledge and information on what you need to do to reverse a certain health issue or to clear your skin, fix your gut. There is an insane amount of information on it. But what I find is very hard when I talk to my clients and followers is that they know what they need to do, but they can't physically bring themselves to do it, to cut out the sugar for months, to cut out dairy, to go gluten-free, to do these things. They just are having such a hard time to committing to exercising and moving their bodies more. So what I want to do is still provide you with all of the health knowledge, information, tips, and everything that you guys have been loving, but bring a side to it, the discipline side of it, that motivation side of it, get you guys amped up and shifting the way you think about your health and your mindset to get you to a point where you are actually able to implement the things you know you need to do. So that's what you can expect a little bit more with season 2. I wanted to take this first episode back though to touch on a couple things, share actually a couple stories as well. I'll explain all of that shortly, and mainly today talk about some things that I like to do to enhance my fitness in terms of supplements, and some things I like to do to also improve my physique as well. Again, focusing around fitness. This was a highly requested video topic, and I don't really do as many videos on YouTube anymore, so I thought I would turn it into a podcast episode instead. So the questions that I was getting very frequently from a lot of you guys, my followers and clients, was specifically what protein powders do I recommend? Being a holistic nutritionist and a homeopathic practitioner, you can obviously know that I'm not going to be recommending your typical diesel whey protein, or I used to use it all the time. Loved the taste of it, but you know that I'm not going to be recommending a lot of these like very conventional approaches. So I'm going to share what I recommend. What do I do? Do I recommend energy drinks? What kind of diet would I be recommending? Things like that. So that's what we'll dive into in this podcast. First things first, though, I shared a post on my social media, just kind of reintroducing myself, because over the last month, I gained, I would say about 6,000 new followers on Instagram, which has been awesome. And a lot of that was pretty much doubled my following currently. So I thought, you know what? A lot of these people were reaching out and saying, hey, like, I don't know much about you. Can you help with this condition? Can you do that? So I thought I would introduce myself, which I did. So anyways, I made a post on Instagram introducing myself. And at the very bottom of the post, I mentioned that I actually like shut down, that I'm a huge foodie. I eat a lot. And then I actually shut down several restaurants in my area. And then I had a flood of DMs where people were like, we need to know these stories. So I thought it would be fun to actually share some information and stories on, I guess, my love for food, but also on the more serious side of it, I want to also share some of the things that I do to keep my metabolism really healthy, strong, vibrant, I should say fast. That also does give me a lot more leeway with my calories as well. So lots to cover today. This is just a new season back, my first episode back. So I hope that this is more of a fun and enjoyable podcast, something chill, not as much, serious information, but just more fun overall. So, excuse me. I also am just recovering from a cold, so I have this lingering cough. So that's been fun. But okay, so just to start with the stories, I thought it was actually most of my family members and like close friends know about it, but I think it was pretty funny and it's something that I definitely want to share. So, okay, I would say ever since like I can remember, I've always just been like a huge eater. Like I would eat as much as my dad or my brothers, like just always loved food. And I wouldn't overeat in the sense of like I'm eating beyond my capacity. It just genuinely, I always had a huge appetite. It definitely shrunk as I got older, and I eat a lot less now than I used to. So this information that I'm sharing with you, this story might actually shock you because this happened when I was like 16. I'm almost 30 now, but I still do eat a lot even for my age now. So anyway, so when I was about 16, I started going out to restaurants a lot more. I started just, when you're younger and you don't really have a job, you're kind of just hanging out with friends at home and stuff. So once I had a job and I was about 16 years old, I started going out with my friends more, especially once I hit 17, which is when I went to university. I was eating out a lot. And so every time I would go to a restaurant, there seemed to be a common theme where I would eat a lot. I typically loved all you can eat places because I found that like, and even till today, like a lot of fine dining restaurants or restaurants that are maybe like, or just like a la carte, you're just kind of ordering off the menu. I find a lot of times I'm so hungry that I have to either order multiple expensive dishes or I leave hungry. So I love all you can eat, like sushi, all you can eat wings, things like that. And back in the day I had no allergies, at least that I knew of, no sensitivities. I actually had a lot of sensitivities. I just wasn't aware. And so anyway, I was able to go to all these restaurants. I was eating whatever I wanted. So also keep that in mind. That was before I was on my health journey. It started off where I went out on a sushi date and it was all you can eat. And I literally ordered, I don't know if for those of you who like sushi, you probably are familiar with sushi boats where you order multiple rolls. They bring out a huge boat full of sushi rolls. So I ordered like so much sushi that 2 sushi boats came out like full to the brim. I would say there's probably, this is going to sound crazy guys, okay, but there's probably 10 rolls on the sushi boat. I ordered a ton of like the shrimp tempura. I ordered lots of like the spring rolls and the appetizers. So like there was an insane amount of food. I was also at like my peak, I don't want to say peak fitness because I wasn't as strong as I am now, but like activity wise, the amount of activity I was doing was more than I am doing now for sure. I was like swimming, biking, hiking, and gymming all day, every day. So I was also burning a lot more calories at that point, and so I could handle more food. But anyway, my appetite was huge. I would go to the sushi place. I would order all of the sushi. I was going out with my friends a lot at the time, and we were going for sushi like 3-4 times a week. So this specific place that I was going to, it knew me very well. I was there all the time, and every time I would come in, I would order so much food that they would come to the table literally and say to me, we can't bring out any more food, even though it was an all-you-can-eat restaurant. Or if they didn't actually say that to me, they would just stop bringing out the food. Like they wouldn't even come to the table to ask if we wanted anything else. This was before the time of the iPad sushi, by the way. So this was like when you had to go like wait for a server to come to your table, place your order with them, and then they would bring the food. And so I would be sitting there like genuinely hungry after I had eaten boats of sushi and trays of food. This is insane, but yeah, I was so hungry. I would be waiting for food and they just would stop coming, and they would just randomly bring me the bill and say like, you've been here for a little while and it's time to pay the bill. So I'd pay the bill and I'd leave, but I would come back for sushi all the time because I was like, it's great. Like back in the day, especially, I think it was like $11.99 for all you can eat. Like that was before we had inflation. So it was phenomenal. Great for a student. It got to the point where I ended up going to this sushi restaurant after I was, kind of cut off multiple times, and I show up at the sushi restaurant and it's closed down. It's shut down. So my friends made a joke about it saying, oh, like you shut down the sushi restaurant because you ate so much, like they couldn't afford to stay open anymore. And it was kind of a joke. So we were laughing about it and I was like, okay, whatever. Well, then the next restaurant I started going to really frequently, which I don't want to share names, just like, yeah, just I guess just don't want to like put everything out on the internet, like where I'm eating and living and stuff. But there was a restaurant that was near my home, and it was kind of like a club at night. So it was like a nightclub at night and then a restaurant during the day. It was such a vibe. The best food if you like deep fried food and junk, which I did and still do, but don't eat anymore. And they had all you can eat wings. Okay. So it was like, if I remember, it was like $16.99 or something like that for all you can eat wings. And the wings at this place were nuts. They were so good and they were like great flavors. So I would go and I would just eat wings. Like that would be my meal. So I would eat and eat and eat. And I would typically I've gone multiple times, and every time I went, the minimum amount of wings that I would have, and this is going to sound insane, especially if you are someone who's vegan or just doesn't like meat, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I would have like 50 wings. Okay. I would want more, but that's like the max that they would bring me. So I did this again multiple times. I'm out with my friends ordering wings, and I just keep they would only bring 10 at a time. So you have to keep waiting for them to come to your table. They would ask if you want more wings and you'd say yes, you pick your flavor, and then they bring another 10, and they would just keep doing that. So I would order and they'd bring me 10, and then I would do it again. They bring me 10, and I would ask you know what, I'm going to eat a lot. Like, can I just order 30 or 40? And they'd be like, no, just 10 at a time. So this happened probably 10, 15 times. I would go to this restaurant, I would order the wings. And after I've ordered wings, I had about 50 wings come to the table. To me specifically, they would just stop coming to my table, and then they would bring me the bill and they would say you need to pay. And that's all we can offer you. And so the same thing happened where after I did this a few times, just genuinely hungry, trying to eat, it sounds like I'm such a crazy person, but I came back to the restaurant and they were shut down. So then my friends, my family, they were joking to me again. They're like, oh, you shut down another restaurant. And again, I'm kind of laughing oh, this is a joke. It started to feel like it wasn't a joke. I actually was shutting down restaurants because the theme was after I ate at a restaurant a few times, all you can eat, and ate a lot more than they probably thought I would, the restaurant would shut down. So anyways, it happened a third time where there was another restaurant that I was eating at. It was a sushi restaurant as well. Sorry. And same thing. I would go in, I would eat my sushi, which was a ton. And then they would stop coming to the table, or they would tell me, I'm sorry, you've kind of maxed out your all you can eat situation. Which kind of was well, if it's all you can eat, it's literally all you can eat. But no, they wouldn't honor it. They would just stop coming, or just tell me straight up, I'm not bringing you more food. So same thing. I would go a few times, and then I showed up one day and the restaurant was shut down. So it became a theme. This happened one final time. And after that, I decided to really check myself and be okay, maybe I am shutting down restaurants. And to this day, you'll never know. I will never know if I actually was the reason where they were we can't maintain, this all you can eat status. People are eating too much. I don't know. But it just became a theme, and I thought it was pretty funny, and it's kind of stuck to this day. Now, to today, I don't eat as much as I did, but I still do eat a lot. I just genuinely have a big appetite. I am also very active. I'm Middle Eastern, so I love my food. Back in the day, I did have I was going to say digestive issues, which yes, I did have, but no, I meant to say I had eating disorders. Whereas today I do not, and I'm fully healed from all that, but I still do love my food, and I am able to eat a lot because one thing I want to share is I really focus on taking care of my metabolism. There was a point from around the time I was 16, 17, I developed PCOS, which essentially means insulin resistance. No shocker there. If you guys have listened to my first podcast episode or any of my YouTube videos, you'll know my backstory on how bad and unhealthy I used to be with my health overall and my diet. So I got PCOS around 16, 17. And that is where I started to actually notice weight gain for the first time. So I was always I would say a stick. I was very lean, very small, extremely active, never not moving. And so I was burning an insane amount of calories, and no matter how much food I ate, the weight never stayed on. And also when you're younger and you're a kid or a young teenager, you just naturally don't put on weight quickly. So it was great. And then I noticed around the time I was started getting to university, like 17, 18, 19, as my PCOS progressed and I didn't know I had it and I still ate the same way, I did start gaining some belly fat. Like I was still overall pretty lean and small, but I did start gaining some weight gain around my abdomen, things like that. I started noticing like, okay, my body is changing, but my activity is not. If anything, I'm even more active. And so that is where I first started realizing like, maybe my metabolism is starting to get disrupted. I started to question my hormones. I started seeing doctors. I got diagnosed with PCOS, and that journey started. After I had my kids, it was a shock for me because right after I would give birth, I would actually lose so much weight that I weighed less than I was before I got pregnant. So it was kind of crazy because most women gain a lot of weight during pregnancy and then they just gain weight after as well, whereas it was the exact opposite for me. So that was kind of nice. But what shocked me was after the initial weight loss, the weight came piling back on because I didn't realize how much my hormones and my metabolism had changed after I had given birth. And so I was still eating the same amount of calories, if not more. And my body and my metabolism was so sluggish. It was like, yeah, no, the weight started coming on really quickly. I actually gained like 40 pounds within the span of a couple months. Like it was really crazy. So that is really where I was like, okay, I know I have PCOS. I know I have hormonal issues. I need to start focusing on regulating my metabolism, which brought me to really look and research into holistic things. I got on my health journey. I started realizing my metabolism is completely messed up, out of balance, sluggish from my horrible eating, my insulin resistance, all these things. And so what I actually started doing, and I'm not going to share a whole protocol here, but just at least make you guys aware that there are things you can do to hack your metabolism. The first thing I started to do was focus on regulating my blood sugar and my insulin resistance with, things like inositol and doing berberine and taking like blood sugar supporting sorry, it's hard doing a podcast when I'm sick, but blood sugar supporting spices like cinnamon. And I started doing flax and chia, which have lignans and help balance cholesterol. So I started trying to do things like that. At the same time, I started doing more green tea and matcha, which is amazing for boosting metabolism. Started drinking lemon water, apple cider vinegar, which helps with regulating blood sugar and the liver. As I started doing these things and then focusing on my sleep and really, really, really reducing my stress as much as I could, or at least practicing anti-stress techniques, I was able to regulate my metabolism, boost it back up, and started losing the weight again, and then got back to like a normal stable weight. Up to today, I do put on weight quickly if I'm not supporting my metabolism. And it's just the reality of having PCOS and insulin resistance. So like I will gain weight very quickly if I'm not active and I'm not eating clean and doing metabolic hacking or supporting my metabolism. But with all that being said, I still can eat about a good 2,500 calories a day and not gain weight. So for me, gaining weight really comes down to the type of food that I'm eating. I can eat, and I'm sure we're all the same way, but calories to me are not created equal. I know like it's a very basic way to lose weight, and it's like calories in, calories out. So usually if you want to lose weight, you just, whatever you're burning in a day, you need to eat less calories. If you're in a deficit, you're going to lose weight. And that essentially is how it works. But for my body, particularly because of my metabolic issues, I need to eat clean calories or my metabolic system goes way down, like my metabolic rate, and I end up burning a lot less calories in a day, which means I end up gaining weight quicker, if that makes sense. So I can't eat 2,500 calories of donuts and chicken nuggets. I have to eat 2,500 calories of lean protein and, complex carbs and really healthy, like vegetables and fruit and like nuts and seeds. If I were to eat 2,500 calories of junk food, my metabolism would go way down. So my metabolic rate would go way down, sorry. Because I'm so active and I do take care of my metabolism as much as I can, I burn more calories in a day. My metabolic rate is higher, thankfully, if I, again, continue to eat clean calories. So I still eat a lot. If you see like what I eat in a day on an average day, some days it's pretty little if I'm so busy, but majority of the time I'm eating a good amount, and it's having like waking up in the morning and I do 3 eggs and some gluten-free toast, a little bit of avocado on the side or some vegetables and maybe a smoothie. And that's all for breakfast. And then my lunch will be, well, it depends on the day, but it'll be a good sized lunch, whatever it is. dinner is always a great portion. And then I have snacks in between as well that are a good size. And sometimes I'll sneak in like a clean dessert. But the shocking thing, it's not the amount of times I'm eating in a day. It is the volume of my food. I do eat physically a lot. I also then work out a lot. So that brings me to my next point. And I'm saying all this because these are questions I get asked a lot through social media, that it's easier to just put it into a podcast and send everybody here. So all the information is in one place. But if you guys have specific questions on things, you can always ask me through social media. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm able to eat a lot still because I'm eating clean. And so it keeps my metabolism rate, my metabolic rate high. And as long as I'm eating clean and my metabolic rate stays high, I can eat a lot of calories, which I love because I'm such a foodie and because I'm always hungry. Being able to eat a lot of calories, I wouldn't survive if I had to eat like 1,500 calories a day. I just could never. So anyway, going into some of the questions that I got asked in regards to like what I'm doing for working out and what do I recommend pre-workouts? Do I recommend energy drinks? So here's what I do. Personally, for me, I am very busy. Like I have a job that's more than full-time. My business, I have so many like faucets of my business, or facets, whatever that word is, that it takes up an insane amount of my time. I also have 4 really small kids and a baby. So that takes up my time. I'm homeschooling my daughter. We got life things, a house to take care of, and all kinds of stuff. So you guys know everybody's busy these days. So that's just life. But I don't have the time to do as much as I would like. And I do dream of a day when, my children are a little bit older and can kind of fend for themselves a bit, to have a little bit more time to focus more on my fitness and like things that I find fun. I would love to do a marathon. I would love to do all kinds of things, but they're not in the books for me right now, but they will be someday. Anyway, so right now I mainly am doing strength training. I used to do it 6 days a week, and it was something I still enjoyed doing, but it just left me very little time to do other things that I enjoy with my fitness. So it kind of became like hard to just get everything in. So what I ended up doing was I decreased my weightlifting to just 3 days a week. So I do like a lower body, I combine quads, glutes, and hamstrings. Then I do an upper push day and then an upper pull day. And on my pull day, I will include some more glute workouts like RDLs to hit the backs as well. But between that, on the days that I'm not weightlifting, I am doing either circuit training or boxing. And also 5 days a week, I'm doing a good walk. So on top of my weightlifting or boxing or my circuit training, I'm also doing a good 20 to 40 minute walk at least. In the summer, we're hiking, we're walking further, so longer. So I'm getting my steps in and I'm moving my body in some way to build my muscle, to build my cardio, my stamina, to jump higher, to run farther, whatever it is, but I'm always working towards improving myself. I actually do have some goals for fitness. I'm not going to get into that here, but I'm working on some things, which is exciting. But in regards to what I personally do, now I do have to put this out there, guys. I am not a personal trainer. I actually did do personal training, like the whole program, the course. I just never wrote like the final exam because I didn't want to be a personal trainer, but it was part of my schooling. So I did it, and I just was like, I don't need to like get my certification. I don't like want to do that. So I have some knowledge, but I can't call myself a personal trainer. And so I do want to say everyone has different goals, and I want you to take this information and just use it as like, information, but not actually implement it and think it's what everybody has to do. Talk to your personal trainer or a professional to get your specific nutrients met and for your specific goals. I personally do not do a pre-workout. I know there are lots on the market. I have not found one that is clean and that I find is something I want to take. I do not like that they have caffeine. I am against, personally, like just for myself, I'm not saying for everybody, but for myself, I'm against the concept of taking caffeine. I think that if you need energy to get through a workout, you either want it coming from a clean source, and I'll touch on that shortly. But if you're waking up and you are so fatigued that you can't even get through a workout without dosing up on several 100 milligrams of caffeine, then to me, you're quieting the cues of your body. If you are that tired, you shouldn't be doing something that intense as needing a pre-workout for it. So if you're feeling exhausted, you want to be honoring your body and working on improving your energy and doing something more gentle that doesn't require a huge hit of caffeine. That's my opinion. Everyone will have a different take on it, and that's totally fine. I just look at like the effects on the adrenals and the effects on your hormones for taking a caffeine every single morning, just again, to get through a workout. So I don't do that personally, but what I will do to give me energy to get through my workout is I will do a meal of B12. I do my B complex, which boosts energy. You can also do a vitamin C that boosts energy as well. And then I will go ahead and do a little bit of sea salt in my water for some I use like the good mineralized sea salt. So you're getting like a lot of different electrolytes. And I throw in a couple tablets of melange tissue salt. It's from Unda, UNDA, the company Unda. Their melange tissue salt has 12 essential cell salts. So these are going to replenish the trace elements, the trace minerals in the body. And then right before my lifting days, I will either eat a banana or I'll add a little bit of honey to my water as well. I make energy bites at home where I have like some oats, and I mix with like dates. But if you're on like a sugar-free diet, you can use liquid stevia or whatever. But anyways, I have like dates. I blend in a food processor. I don't like to do too much fat before my workout, so I'll blend it with a little bit of almond butter. But it's usually dates and then sea salt, cinnamon, whatever. And I mix in oats into that. And so you're getting some good carbs, but they're complex. And so I'll either do that or I'll do a banana, something to give me the carb, but not feel heavy, weighed down, or having like pure sugar. I know a lot of people do Rice Krispie treats or cereal or something, and I'm like, that's too much sugar personally, at least for me, to go into a workout with. I don't want to disrupt my gut or my hormones by eating that much sugar. I also will take my inositol every morning to help stabilize my insulin resistance. So that's what I personally do as a pre-workout. Okay. I also do not use creatine. I know a lot of people do, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it at all. I just don't use it. I think a big thing for me is that I'm on already quite a few supplements for, keeping my immune system healthy, my IBS and my psoriasis regulated, and my energy good and all that stuff, that I'm like, I don't want to add anything else. I personally do not need to have an insane bulk. I'm good with, having beautiful muscle mass and having a good physique and feeling strong without needing that extra addition of creatine, which I know can help you push more and lift more and do all these great things, but that's just not really in my goals for right now, at least. So I don't take it personally. I also don't want to put a lot of burden on my kidneys doing too many different proteins and supplements as well. And that's just my personal thing. But in terms of energy drinks, do I drink energy drinks? The answer is yes. You'll be happy to know I do. Not often though. I would say not daily, but here and there. Hey, I'm a mom. I work full time. I still am only sleeping 3 hours maximum every night. My baby's a year and 3 months. And during my pregnancy and this whole entire year and almost a year and a half, so I would say we're closer to 2.5 years, I've only been sleeping anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 hours at night because he's been exceptionally difficult at night, both while I was pregnant with him and after he's been born. So my sleep is so bad. I'm always extremely tired. So yeah, I do have an energy drink. Do you want to know which one I have? I will happily share it. It's from the company Oralis Botanical, Auralis Botanical. I am obsessed with their energy drinks. They are completely plant-based in terms of like what's in it, and then they add minerals. So the one I really like is their reishi one. It has reishi medicinal mushroom. They add in like magnesium, B vitamins. They add like juniper berries and things like that. It's so nice. Now you have to like holistic type of drinks because there is like an herby flavor to it. Don't expect it to taste like a Red Bull and insanely sweet and all that because it's unsweetened. It's just giving you B vitamins. It's giving you the magnesium. It's giving you the medicinal mushrooms to boost your energy naturally. And I love it. So I will have one of those, every couple days. And it's like my favorite thing. So that's what I personally do for energy drinks. Outside of that, I do not consume any. I have not, again, found one that I think is clean. There's either high amounts of processed stevia, or I find that there is going to be a lot of, again, caffeine and things that I personally do not want in my body. Now, it's not to say no one can have it. It's just, again, my personal preference. In terms of like electrolytes while I'm having a workout or working out, I sweat an insane amount. I am just like a person who when I start working out, if my body temp goes up, I am sweating like I'm drenched. So I do like to replenish with electrolytes. I will, again, add the sea salt to my water. I will add a little bit of honey. I'll have a banana pre-workout. So I'm always keeping my electrolytes balanced. I've got a lot of questions about BioSteel. Yes, I'll have that once in a while. I personally I don't love things that taste overly sweet, even though it's stevia. I don't like overly sweet things unless it's a dessert. Then we're talking, give me all the sweetness. But in general, especially with beverages, I like a much more subtle flavor. So I just don't love the taste of BioSteel, but I will have it once in a while. My husband prefers it a lot more. I also am just like, I don't like too much processed stevia. If I'm going to have it, I like the liquid stevia just because it's easier on my gut. But I hope that that helps clarify some things. And then in regards to protein powder, of course I use a protein powder, but not the typical ones that, you can go to like, GNC or Herc's and buy like a protein powders. They have lots of great stuff. But for me, with my gut issues, I can't just use a standard whey protein. I will get bloated. I will have IBS flares. So I have to be really careful with the protein I'm using. So here's what I do use. Collagen number 1. Guys, this is like my obsession because it can be mixed and dissolved into anything with no taste. And it can go into hot, like I'll add it to herbal teas. I will add it to smoothies, and it really has no change to the taste. So it's a nice way to sneak it into everything you make without having to change the taste or texture. I also use gelatin. This is something I take daily to keep my gut healthy and strong, and has been one of the best things to keep my IBS flares away. Thirdly, I do use whey protein. So this is some probably information that might shock a lot of you because I know a lot of you think I'm 100% against it. It depends on the person and it depends on the type of whey protein. I used to use Ancient Nutrition whey back when they made it. This is like a long time ago, and it was grass-fed. It was the casein protein from the type of cow that it was extracted from had very low very low casein. And then also, aside from being grass-fed, organic, all that stuff, they added probiotics. There was no gums or thickeners. It was super, super clean, and I never felt bad on it. I could eat it and it felt great, and I loved the taste of it. They added colostrum in it too. They discontinued it, and so for a long time, I had no whey protein that I could tolerate, and I didn't want to be on a lot of dairy. I started taking Natreve. I think it's Natreve. Their vanilla whey. And I do have to say the taste is insane. It's really good. And it is grass-fed. They do add probiotics to it. I don't have it all the time because I don't just naturally want to be on dairy a lot. But on my heavy lifting days, especially for lower body, you best believe I'm adding some whey protein to a smoothie. I tolerate it well, and it is grass-fed. And again, I don't ever really eat dairy in my life. Like, I'm not a cheese person. I don't ever drink milk. I don't have cream. So having a little bit of dairy here or there is okay for me. Like, it really does not affect my gut at all. But I do have the whey protein a little bit. But my main source of protein outside of that in terms of protein powder is actually Nuzest. Nuzest. I love, love, love their strawberry protein, and I add it to my energy bites. I'll add it to my smoothie. It's a pea protein, so it's vegan. It's lectin-free, no other weird ingredients or anything like that. It's really nice. It's subtle. It's not overly sweet. But I love mainly making protein bars and energy bites with it. But I will also add it to some almond milk and ice, and I'll blend it up and drink that post-workout. So that's the proteins that I use, if you guys are wondering. And then the last main question is there a diet that I follow? So the answer is yes and no. I do not have a label to my diet because I don't call it a diet. It's a lifestyle. And the way that I eat is called whole foods. So 95% of the time you will find me eating vegetables and healthy grass-fed pasture-raised meats and eggs and nuts and seeds and whole grains. I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, and mostly sugar-free. And if I am having sugar, it's like honey, maple syrup, or dates, or some fruit. But it's very, very limited. Obviously, there's 5% of the time where I'm going on a date night. It's the kid's birthday. I'm going to go out and have a gluten-free dessert. I'm going to have sugar. I'm going to have, whatever. But at home, at least, I am eating very limited processed foods. I don't do a lot of chips. I'm not doing a lot of stuff out of packages, except for like the snack conscious protein bites. I love those. And there are some like granola bars and stuff that I'll have. But overall, I'm really trying to eat like farm to table in the terms of this was grown in the ground or was an animal and now it's on my plate. That's it. So it's not a diet. I'm not following anything like that. I just am eating as clean as I possibly can. And I never drink juice, sodas, nothing. I only drink water and herbal teas. Once in a while, those energy drinks. And then I'll have like matcha very frequently. And once in a while, I'll do like a cappuccino. I'm not a huge coffee lover, so it's more so like the matchas and like London fogs and stuff that I'll make at home. But I will have a cappuccino here and there if it's made well. And that's my drink. So overall, eating really, really clean. And then, like I said, I do have a lot of calories in a day, but they're coming from whole foods. So my metabolism for my body type personally thrives on that. If I rear off of the clean foods and I have a few days where we're eating like gluten-free pizza and stuff because we're at birthday parties or whatever it is, I notice that like I'll start gaining weight, mainly water weight, from all the sodium, but also from the carbs. So I can't do heavy carbs. I have to focus mostly on proteins and vegetables. So I hope that kind of clarifies at least the questions that I've been getting on what I'm doing with my fitness and what I recommend in terms of pre-workouts, protein shakes, all that good stuff. If you guys have specific questions on this topic, you can let me know. But I hope that answered things and clarified things. And I hope that you enjoyed this first episode back. I have some really cool topics coming up. I've taken all of your requests over the past couple months and I have just put them onto my list and I'm going to tick them off one at a time. The last thing I will say is that the reason why I took 2 months off was mainly to do my gut reset, which is a 60-day gut detox, inflammation lowering, gut repairing, habit building challenge that is packed with so much information. And I launched it a couple months ago, and every week we're doing like live Zoom meetings and stuff together. So I was just trying to prioritize my energy into that. So I was like, the podcast will take a break and we will resume season 2 as the gut reset comes to an end. So we're in our last 2 weeks of it. Now I'm back with the podcast and I actually am relaunching the gut reset. But instead of it only initially, the plan was to only have it run twice a year. We are having it run 365 days a year. So you can join and start anytime and finish anytime you like as well. So there's no like urgency to sign up at a certain time. You can start and end whenever you like. So it's exciting. I'll be launching it officially soon. But that was just a project that I've been working on. And so just kind of had to pick and choose where I was putting my time. So podcast was taking a break, but we're coming back strong and there's going to be a new episode every single week. And we're going to be really trying to bring a lot of the motivation and discipline side of things to these podcasts to not only give you the information and tools you need to help reverse your health issues, but give you that mindset approach that you can implement and take and change and pivot to actually start and really take care of your health and make it a priority. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you have a beautiful day or night wherever you are listening from, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye.